Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I caught a fish alive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I let it go again. Excuse me. Don't mind me. I'm just doing some things here quick. I'm getting set up, but if you're here, welcome. Nice to see ya. There we go. Huzzah. That's what I love to see. Okay. Welcome to the stream, everybody. I need to refill some of my tools. So we are going to be spending a lot of time next to skeletons today at the skeleton spawner, because that's how I get the most out of the hold on, I know English. It's how I get the most out of, XP farms, even though that one in the south is really, really nice. But today is something that I love doing. And I picked this up from one of my favorite streamers. And their name is Madeline Pendleton on Twitch. And they mostly talk about like communism and, particularly Marxist Leninism. And they just talk about that all the time, and then socialism around the world. But I'm doing this thing where I'm while I'm killing monsters for XP, I think I will read a book to you while the monsters fall, and then we can take little breaks from our little breaks will be killing the skeletons, which are in front of the screen right now. So the book I am going to read for you all today, and in time I think I'll figure out how to have a camera going so I can show you what we're reading. But the book I am reading from today is titled Before We Were Trans, A New History of Gender by Kit Hiyam. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that last name. But I got gifted this book a while ago, and I've really wanted to read it. And I was originally going to be reading you the Communist Manifesto, but woke maxing is woke maxing. So we're gonna max out our wokeness today. So if you have this book, I might just read through chapter 1 just to keep it, on the short side, because I don't want to be down in the mines all day. I have some other projects I need to do. So without further ado, a little blurb in the front. Love and solidarity to everyone who's ever felt alone in their experience of gender. Thank you. Alright, so I'll read through the introduction, and then once the introduction is done, I think we'll attack those skeletons. So, introduction. Quote, I had a gown on in a lark. Colon, what is trans history? Question mark. On the night of Monday, June 8th, 1847, John Sullivan was drunk. Strolling unsteadily down the street in Aldgate, East London, the 22-year-old was wearing a bonnet, a gown, a silk apron, a pair of trousers, and a pair of women's boots. Police Constable Henry Pye's attention was caught both by this attire and by the bundle John was carrying under one arm. Steering John to the local police station, he opened the bundle to find more items of women's clothing, where he asked John, had these come from? John said, they're mine. 6 days later, on June 14th, John Sullivan was tried for the theft of a cape, a handkerchief, an apron, 2 gowns, 2 petticoats, and a pair of stays. The clothes belonged to local woman Frances Norton and had a total value of 13 shillings and 6 pence. Under oath, John denied stealing the clothes and dismissed the choice to wear them as a drunken joke, swearing, I had them given to me to carry to the market. The policeman caught me, and the person who gave me the things ran away. I had a gown on and a lark, but I had my trousers on. I was very much intoxicated. The court, mindful that this was John's second offense, following a 6-month prison sentence the previous year for a crime whose records don't appear to survive, was unsympathetic. John Sullivan was sentenced to be transported to Australia for 10 years. Is this story part of trans history? It's unlikely that many people would treat it as such. John Sullivan lived before the word transgender, as we know it, was widely available for individuals to describe their actions or identities. There's no evidence that John presented as female outside of the specific circumstances outlined in the trial records. Perhaps more conclusively, those trial records give us John's own testimony, framing the choice to wear women's clothes not as a matter of identity, but as a drunken lark. Surely there's no better metric by which to judge a historical person's gender than their own voice. So, very interesting as we're going through. With this introductory little anecdote, I have definitely done this before. No, I've done that before. And it's just, it's weird to see yourself reflected in people that existed back in like the 1800s, because it kind of just shows that humanity's always been the same. But we will keep on reading. I don't think there's a whole... Oh, wow. Yeah, though. This is a long introduction. Chat, how are we feeling? How are we feeling about the woke maxing so far? I'm kind of trying this out. I tried it once earlier, but I didn't really have a name for it. And I think on Tuesdays, I'll stream the woke maxi. Good golly, this is a long introduction. Woo! Okay. Oh, I'm excited. This is a good read so far. Well, since it's super long, let me just get a bookmark. And what we're trying to do right now is fill up this pickaxe because, well, I mean, all of the, like the 3 right here are needing to be filled. So, come to mama. Thank you. I feel like I should build a monument to skeletons because they really have helped along the process. Even though they're pains in the posteriors, they are pretty sick. Okay. Continuing on, we will read some more. Oh, I also have a date tonight. It should go Pretty interestingly, I've never been to the restaurant we're going to tonight, so I'm pretty excited. All right, anyway, where do we leave off? Okay. Surely there's no better metric by which to judge a historical person's gender than their own voice. Than their own voice? Sorry, there's a question mark at the end. Anywho. These are the criteria that usually determine whether trans people feel able to talk about someone as belonging to trans history. We look for evidence that their motivation for gender nonconformity was not external, but internal, ideally in the form of personal testimony. We look for continuous presentation as the gender opposite to the one they were assigned at birth. And we look for histories that we can fit into contemporary Western ideas of what it means to be trans. Even if those criteria are met, we get anxious if the person we're dealing with lived before the advent of the terminology that we use to talk about trans identities today. Often this in itself is enough to dismiss their trans possibility altogether. These criteria often make it difficult for us to talk about trans history at all. What makes this conversation even more difficult to have are the concepts that underpin it: gender and sex, internal and external motivations, personal testimony, stability of identity. If we poke at any of these concepts, the whole edifice starts to crumble. When we talk about trans history, what are we even talking about? Great question, book. Hold on, I need a drink of water. Okay. This book is about to answer that question. Oh my. Ask a trans person today what the adjective trans refers to, and while the nuances will differ, the most common definition you'll get is anyone who doesn't identify with their gender they were assigned at birth. It's important to us to put it into these terms. Talking about trans as an identity rather than an action helps us to understand transness as relating to who you are, not what you do. A crucial step in undermining the argument that transition means adhering to gender stereotypes. It makes space for people who can't or don't want to transition socially or medically. And talking about moving away from the gender they were assigned at birth rather than from male to female, or vice versa, helps our definition to be clearly inclusive of non-binary people. People like me, the author, who don't identify as male or female all the time. As a side note, and a personal little anecdote of mine, non-binary people are just so cool. Me personally, I only exist on like the gender binary spectrum. And that's the part I most identify with in my brain. I don't know. Sometimes I feel a bit non-binary with my clothing presentation. I don't know. We're getting right in the book. Back on track. This modern understanding of trans is usually dated back to early 20th century sexology, an intellectual movement that attempted to examine sexuality and gender identity as a specific phenomena. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Good golly, Miss Molly. The German sexologist Magnus Hirschfeld coined the term transvestite in 1910. And although this word sounds to modern ears like a sensationalist term for, quote, cross-dressing, some think that relates to external gender expression rather than internal gender identity, and is probably sexualized in the vein of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Hirschfeld intended it to cover a much broader range of trans identities, including people who transitioned medically, people who transitioned socially, and people who changed their gender expression some, but not all of the time. The word transsexual then came by the mid 20th century to primarily indicate trans people who access medical transition, who used hormones and/or surgery to change their bodies so that it aligned with the physical characteristics associated with the gender they identified as. By the late 1960s, American trans activist Virginia Prince was helping to popularize the word transgender to refer to trans people who transition socially but not medically, living as a gender other than the one they were assigned at birth, without changing their body. While this distinction persisted in common parlance for some decades, by the 21st century, and in particular, following the influence of Leslie Feinberg's 1992 book, Transgender Liberation, trans identities and practices of all kinds were becoming subsumed under the umbrella term transgender. The word transsexual, while still valued by some for its connection to the history of trans activism, and particularly to that of older trans women, and while still persisting in some official quarters, like the UK Equality Act of 2010, which uses it to refer to any trans person who transitions socially or medically, has become gradually replaced by trans, short for transgender, as the default word we use to describe ourselves. Cisgender, or cis, an adjective that refers to the opposite of trans, anyone who does identify with gender they were assigned at birth, dates back to at least the 1990s. The word cis is sometimes misunderstood as referring to stereotypes. Much of the opposition to it rests on the idea that to call someone a cis woman is to say that she is comfortable with society's narrow idea of femininity. In reality, though, the way most trans people use it is to refer to not to stereotypes, but to self-identification. A cis woman is someone who is assigned female at birth and is happy to describe herself as a woman regardless of how she defies society's idea of what woman should mean. Yeah, interesting. Pretty standard introductory stuff here. I mean, I'm liking it so far. Call me a windmill, I'm a big fan. But yeah, getting the milk toast stuff out of the way, just setting the groundwork. I really like this introduction so far. And if you're joining us, we are reading from the book Before We Were Trans, A New History of Gender by Kit Hiem. Again, I feel like I'm pronouncing that wrong, and I apologize if I am. But let's get some XP now that we've taken a little break. Let's see. I'm going to... Boom, boom, boom. And, yeah, I'm really liking the book so far. I got it as a gift, like, I want to say a couple Christmases ago, but, I was still going through college, and I was doing a lot of other reading, and I never got around to it. So, I, for one, am really happy that I'm just going to throw those in there. Time being, I don't really need them. Why do I have a crafting table? But yeah, great opportunity to actually get to read books because I do enjoy reading. I enjoy, like, even though Minecraft is one of my main hobbies, I also really enjoy reading. Like, one of my favorite books is a book by John Green that was like a podcast during 2020, and it's called The Anthropocene Reviewed. Oh, it's a good one. There's a whole chapter about the penguins of Madagascar, which is a movie I love. But that's neither here nor there. Anywho, let us get back on track. We're refueling that, we're refueling that, we're refueling that. Boom. Okay. I may need to get a little drink of water here because reading, even though it's fun, I don't read out loud a whole lot. But again, I'm trying to get back into the flow. All right, and if you're following along, page 4 is where we're at. Middle bottom part of the paragraph. Even in the past 100 years, then, a period in which the category of trans has been relatively coherent, thinking about trans history is a difficult and messy business. Look back further in time, and the difficulty and messiness increases dramatically. It's not as simple as saying that while the terminology is new, the experiences are not. The advent of new terminology can genuinely shift how we think about gender, as well as what names we give to our experiences. But it's also not straightforwardly true to say that the use of the word trans to talk about gender has no history before sexology. Literary scholar Joseph Gamble was recently discovered that the 20th century writer Thomas Brown used the prefix trans and the word transition to refer to the spontaneous sex changes of hares as early as 1646. And even coined the adjective transfeminated to refer to a body that is transformed from what we think of as female to what we think of as male. So the prefix trans was clearly relevant to thinking about gender malleability long before Hirschfeld leveraged it to refer to the patients he saw at his Institute for Sexual Science. Fun fact about Magnus Hirschfeld and the School of Sexology. That was one of the first sites of... Well, actually, not fun fact, really sad fact. It was one of the first sites where books were burned during the Nazi takeover of Germany. And that's like all of those like book burning photos you see are from, you know, the book burnings at that institute. But neither here nor there. Actually, yeah, it's relevant. Continuing. Yet this doesn't mean any of us can easily map our category of trans people, as I've defined it here, back onto the past. If we try to think about the contemporary definition, anyone who doesn't identify with the gender they were assigned at birth, in historical terms, it immediately starts to break down. In England and Wales, civil birth registrations, as opposed to the noting of births and baptisms in parish records, didn't begin until 1837, and they didn't become compulsory until 1875, 20 years later than in Scotland. Meaning that birth records are unlikely to include a gender marker before the 19th century. So what does it mean to be assigned a particular gender at birth before that point? And what, for that matter, do we mean by gender or sex when we're thinking about the past? These terms aren't even stable in our society. While popular discourse often defines gender as a social construct and sex as a biological reality, sex is between your legs, gender is between your ears. Oh my gosh, voice crack. This neat sounding distinction bellies that many socially determined aspects of how we think about bodies. The labels male and female are themselves socially determined. Our society labels one configuration of body parts female and one male, but what's stopping us from calling these biological trends A or B, or orange and purple? Similarly, why do we think of some sexual characteristics, like genitals and chromosomes, as fundamental parts of sex, which make a difference to how we categorize a person's body, and others, like facial hair and fat distribution, as comparatively insignificant? Why do we think of sex as binary, dividing humans into two clear biological types, when in reality, it's a spectrum on which comparatively few people tick all of the boxes required to slot neatly into one of those two categories? Why do so many societies still carry out violent, non-consensual, and medically unnecessary surgery on intersex children? Children whose bodies don't clearly fit into one of the categories we labeled male and female. The answer to all of those questions is that gender, that socially constructed idea which carries all of the social baggage we associate with maleness and femaleness, informs even procedures, our ideas about sex. In the words of trans writer and activist Sean Fay, quote, "Our sexed bodies never exist outside social means. Consequently, how we understand gender shapes how we understand sex. The way we perceive and understand sex differences and emphasize their significance is so deeply gendered that it can be impossible to completely divorce the two. To say sex and gender are both socially constructed isn't to say that they're not real. Like other social constructs, including race, money, and crime, they have material and life-changing consequences for all of us. But it is to say that there's no innate reason we have to think about them in the way that we do." Interesting. Very interesting. I like what they're saying here and what they point out, because yeah, even though they're socially constructed, doesn't really mean that they don't mean something. Very interesting, very interesting. So, and again, thank you for sticking with me. On this one, I don't think we'll be able to get through the whole introduction today, which is fine. We can chunk this out for the next woke maxing session. Or we can choose a different book. I feel like if I get more people for the woke maxing sessions, we could maybe switch it up, have a poll or something. But this is still in its infancy. I don't have much for the Twitch stream yet. Oh, okay. Get myself some water before we get back into it. And you can't see this right now, but I'm drinking out of like an old pickle jar that I just turned into like a regular jar that I use. I'm not drinking pickle juice. I'm drinking like it has a caffeine energy packet that I like mixed together with water. It's pretty good. It was only like $2 at the store. Which again, call me a windmill, because I'm a big fan. Alrighty, and we left off on page 6. Here we go. But it is to say that there's no innate reason we have to think about them in the way that we do. Given that we don't think about gender and sex in a coherent way today, it's no surprise that these ideas were equally unstable in the past. The idea of gender as a socially constructed and distinct form and distinct from sex didn't become common parlance in English until the mid 20th century. That isn't to say that before this it was only bodies that mattered. Gender and sex were used interchangeably, with sex far more common, and both referred to a combination of the social and biological. To adapt the words of trans theorist and historian Susan Stryker, both gender and sex referred to the social organization of different kinds of bodies into different categories of people. When the clergyman Thomas Stoughton complained in 1622 that, quote, men and women had changed their sex as much as they can, one with another, by men wearing long hair like unto women, and women cutting off their hair like unto boys. He was referring both to their bodies and to their social experience. This was complicated even further by the fact that Stoughton and his contemporaries understood the biological makeup of the body and its relationship to personality in society very differently from the way that we do today. As a result, we can't even straightforwardly apply our modern concepts of men and women to people in the past. The term gender, until it started to refer more exclusively to men and women in the 20th century, just meant kind or sort. When Shakespeare referred to one gender of herbs in his play Othello, this is what he meant. In this sense, gender is related to the word genre, which we use to categorize different kinds of art into many more groups than just two. That is interesting. Genre, very interesting. This is good eating. There's also the problem that in any society that what constitutes male and female or any gender is different for different people. How we understand gender is shaped by so many factors, personal, cultural, historical, that every individual's conceptualization of gender is unique. For some people, being a man necessitates not wearing a dress even as a joke, meaning John Sullivan, our 19th century gender nonconforming thief, wouldn't qualify as male. In my own life, the author's, my wardrobe of floral shirts and dangly earrings means a visit to the shops can be a lottery in terms of whether I'll be called sir, ma'am, or, on one memorable occasion, equal parts validating and amusing, young person. If I played professional sport, my testosterone levels would make me a man. If I got pregnant, my doctor's computer system would force me to be labeled woman. If you asked me, the author, I'd tell you neither category is accurate. Instead, I use the term non-binary to describe myself, and yet the way I understand that term is different from many of my non-binary friends. If what it means to be a man, a woman, or a non-binary person is different for everyone and varies between contexts, how can we straightforwardly talk about people who don't identify as the gender they were assigned at birth, in either the past or the present? Despite these difficulties and complexities, trans people love to tell stories from our history. Feeling a sense of community with the past is profoundly important for many of us, and particularly for those of us who are isolated in our day-to-day lives. I feel kind of called out here, but neither here nor there. As a teenager struggling to articulate my feelings around gender and sexuality, I confided far more in the queer historical figures who populated my mental landscape than I did in the friends I saw every day at school. Talking about our history is politically important too, helping to undermine arguments that, as I'll talk about more later, present trans people as newfangled inventions, simultaneously suggesting that we're a trend that shouldn't be taken seriously, and that we're a potent new threat. I'll just cut it off there because the skeletons are piling up. Yeah. For those of you who think trans people have, are like a new thing, contrary to the case, we date back to the beginning of humanity. There's evidence of us in like Sumerian texts. We're pretty cool. We're pretty awesome. Oh, I love the sound of skeletons dying in the evening of Minecraft. Boom. Temporary home. Oh yeah. Don't worry, we'll be getting to building soon. I just want to make sure, or well, you know, I think we're, okay. I think the pickaxe is fine. Let's do, because I'll be working a lot with wood today. So I want to make sure the axe is filled up before we go out and do anything. So on that note, I get to read some more. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're having a good time. Okay, where was I? That we're a potent new threat. Okay. Hold on. I know how I get water time. Okay. The tales of trans history that we tell often for personal and political reasons have a familiar cast. They feature people like Billy Tipton, the American jazz musician who lived as male and whose family and friends were shocked when he was outed as trans after his death in 1989. And his 19th century antecedent, James Barrie, the Irish surgeon who similarly lived as male for all of his adult life and was outed against his will after his death in 1865. We talk too about pioneers of medical transition like Lili Elbe, the Danish trans woman made famous by the disappointing 2015 film The Danish Girl. I'm so glad I haven't seen that movie. Who is one of the earliest recipients of a modern Western form of gender reassignment surgery, and Christine Jorgensen, icon baddie, who traveled from her native New York to Denmark to access medical transition and was made famous by the sensational 1952 New York Daily News headline, XGI becomes blonde beauty. Actually, on the topic of her, she actually ended up dying pretty early because like the surgery was still pretty new and it was not a good time. Like on the surface it looks like a really awesome thing, but because she was part of some research I did for my capstone for my undergraduate, and it was a little sad to hear about. But anywho, moving forward, these stories and their well-known characters are profoundly valuable. There's a powerful, electrifying force to the resonance we feel when we realize someone else has felt our feelings before us. The queer theorist Carolyn Dinshaw uses the image of a touch across time, an image that always reminds me of the line about literature in Alan Bennett's The History of Boys, as if a hand has come out and taken yours. But when we look closely at these stories, we can see that they have a troubling amount in common. These well-known trans figures from the past aren't reaching out their hands to everyone. This is the problem. The trans histories that we point to most often are the easy stories. They are stories of people who live stably in a gender distinct from the other one they were assigned at birth. People who, even if they didn't have access to the word transgender, lived recently enough to fit easily into modern Western understandings of sex and gender. People who pursued medical transition if they had access to it. People from whom we have the first-hand testimony saying that they wanted to be recognized as the gender they lived in. Even if we occasionally draw upon long ago stories like that of the Roman Emperor Elagabalus. Hold on, I can pronounce this one. Elagabalus. There we go. Who, according to multiple contemporary accounts, presented as female and sought gender reassignment surgery. They tend to be those that are easily, uncomplicatedly recognizable according to these modern Western ideas of what it means to be trans. And if we mention trans people of color, like Marsha B. Johnson, they're often deployed tokenistically in an attempt to make sure our cast of trans historical figures isn't entirely white, without really taking the time to understand the specificities of their experience. If we try to slot John Sullivan into this cast of trans historical characters, we fail on every account. But John's story is crucial. It's crucial because it represents the tip of an iceberg, just one of a huge number of difficult, complicated stories from the history, hold on, turning the page, of gender that we don't have a good way to talk about. And it's crucial because it forces us to confront the fact that there are two big problems with how we decide whether a story counts as trans history. All right, let's stop there because we've got some skeletons to murk. Come to mama. And you know, on the topic of trans histories, another bit of research I did, and I mentioned it a bit earlier, excuse me, was this guy. Well, he wasn't, I mean, I came across him as I was doing my research because I was looking at the public perception of gender diverse individuals through the lens of newspapers in America in the mid to late 19th century. And, oh no, I want to keep that one. No. Well, what was really interesting is that there are a lot of different cases where people either fell within the binary. Well, it was because, like, you're looking at it through, like, because a lot of newspapers were through a cisgendered lens, right? And you were just looking at, you know, it's like trying to look at a sunset through stained glass. Because I know what the sunset looks like without the stained glass. But then, like, you're looking through the past through the stained glass, or, like, the history of your own people, or people like you, through the lens of people who aren't like you. It's because, like, I looked through those newspaper stories, and it ranged from, like, 1850 to, like, 1898, I want to say. And most of the time it was sensationalized, or like, you even see the roots of Um, like a lot of cis people have like there's a common phrase by cis people, or it's like, oh, you're so brave, you're so brave. You can see the roots of that in those old newspaper clippings. I don't know, it's just really interesting. And since we're on the topic of gender, I love to talk about my capstone because it's like my baby. I spent 3 months doing the research and writing the paper that was like 25 pages long. I think they published it somewhere. I'll have to check that out. I know it's in the archives of my university, though. Moving forward, we can get back to where we left off. And so if you're following along, I don't think you are, but if you are, we are on page 10. And here we go. The first problem, and one that the 1847 story of John's dress exemplifies, is that a lot of evidence we have for gender nonconforming lives comes from legal and medical context. This is true. Other than like sensational stories of like gender nonconforming people from the time, a lot of like historical context, at least during like from at least the late 1600s to like the 1850s, it's mostly medical records and legal documents. Sorry. Continuing. These are the kinds of records in which gender nonconforming people are overwhelmingly visible, or overwhelmingly become visible. But law and medicine aren't neutral contexts in which people give objective narratives of their experience. They're high-stakes environments in which we construct a narrative for an authority figure whose decisions have huge consequences for our lives. As a result, we might adopt a particular discourse or way of speaking suited to the environment. We might strategically edit the truth to give a more coherent or believable narrative. We might even simply lie, telling those authority figures that they want what they want to hear. If, in a century's time, a historian looked at the records of gender identity clinics in the UK, their estimate of how non-binary people access medical transition would be much smaller than the true number. Knowing that clinicians can still be suspicious of non-binary identities, we've been taught to edit our stories, to present ourselves as trans men or women in the hope of accessing medical treatment more quickly. So we can't rely on the accuracy of legal or medical records to tell us about the truth of trans experience in the past. What's more, even when trans people do tell the truth in these official contexts, we can't always rely on official documents to record their voices or wishes accurately, as demonstrated by the many obituaries of trans people that misgender their subjects. Also, on that note, sorry, I'm stopping a bit early on that one because I want to ramble. On that note of, needing to edit your story, I think it's really important, especially if you're a member of a marginalized community, especially if you're in America right now. For goodness sake, journal your thoughts. Journal your thoughts, please. Write them physically down in a journal. Also, as a scholar of history, please physically journal everything you can. Because I guarantee you, if you decide to journal on a website, and if you're relying on those memory banks to hold your history, it is not going to hold your history. Please write a physical journal to write down your thoughts and reflect on the current times, because there's also this thing in the historical community called it's popped up. I remember one of my professors talking about it ages ago, but it's this, what did he call it? The digital dark ages. That's what he called it. And his reasoning for calling it the Digital Dark Ages was because, excuse me, because everyone is documenting everything they do online, they're not documenting it like physically. And so he proposes, or what I remember him telling me in my sophomore year history class, that those memory banks, you know, get lost, and all of that information about human existence just gets lost because it's a digital backup, and then it just gets either lost in the cloud or deleted. More than likely deleted, especially if you're in a company that might go under, and then like all of that information is just lost, and then no one knows how to access it because it's, you know, like maybe that technology is too old and they don't know how to crack it open, so to speak. They don't have the key to open the chest, so to speak. But if you write it down in a physical journal and you keep it in a safe space that's like dry, like on a bookshelf or something, like I have mine that I write in, that I've been writing in since 2020, or no, actually since 2019. I started it like right after like before I graduated high school. I highly recommend it, not only for the note of historical purposes, but also for yourself. Journaling is really nice. It allows me to get my thoughts onto a page, and then I feel better if I'm having a really sad day. So, main message of the stream, do some journaling. Anywho, let's murk some skellies, shall we? One for good measure. Okie dokie. Okay, I think that's where we're going to leave off with the woke maxing for today. Because now... we can go... So last time we were on the stream, we were working on that monster farm in the south, on the shores of the Eternum. And I think I want to do this every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, woke maxing session for an hour, and then we can go... Sorry, I'm just cleaning out my inventory here. I've got a lot of stuff. I'm overflowing and it needs to be organized. Okay. And then maybe make a few extra rockets because I think I'm low on rockets. But we were working on the Beacon of the South, which is going to be used by the members of the server as like a go-to place for like if they ever want to do adventures on the ocean. I was right on the gunpowder. Thank you. But that would be the main goal of that. I've also been working on doing some redstoning around the capital because I've had a few new members come into the world and they've had a bit of a difficulty navigating, which, I mean, understandable. It's a big city. I don't blame them. But I've been working on doing more signs, and as you can see, I have torches all over the place. They're all over down here, they're all over up there. It's a little obnoxious, and I realized that, like, that little puff of smoke right there, with probably well over 2,000 torches in the entire city, can kind of hinder the performance of the, or like it can contribute to the lag. So my goal is to be creating a lot of like redstone lights across the city. Hopefully we can get to a point where we've replaced all of the torches with either lanterns or like redstone lights. That way we can, you know, have a better performing city. And then, oh my gosh, where's the sun? It should be rising. Oh wait, never mind. The sun just went down. I gotta go to the church. Yeah, like as you can see, I've replaced a lot of these with, excuse me, with redstone lights that are controlled by the sun. And I'm very new to redstone. I haven't really messed around with it a whole lot. So this is new for me. And like they only turn on at night, which I think is going to be super duper helpful for everybody coming to visit the capital. And like, as you can see, subway to the east side, subway to the east side, and the east side right here. I need to get glow squid. I'm trying to develop a glow squid farm as well. Also, I want to get some frog lights, but I need to like make a farm for that, and that's a little difficult because the nether scares me. But we are moving right along. I might need to stop in Oakside and get more oak trees because we are doing the second level of that compound we were in, because the building plans for the Beacon of the South, we've already got the base done. The base is already done for. The hard part is out of the way. The next thing we need to do is build the little community area that's going to exist. It's going to be like a community chest. Like, think a small town, but just in a tower. Because you've got the mob farm at the bottom, where people can get their XP. And then on the second level, there's going to be the community chest area. Probably like a super smelter in there too, just for giggles. And then above that, there's going to be resident lofts, where if you like need to go onto the ocean for an adventure, you can, sleep there for the night, rest up, whatever. But then above that, there's also going to be a sniffer biome. And that's going to be like the very last thing that we do is find sniffer eggs. Because we're going to build that little biome at the very top. And it's going to look like a giant flashlight on the top. Kind of like a dome. I'm very excited. It's a very ambitious project. I will say, I hope it's done soon. Because I'm just about finished with the, oh gosh, the name is escaping me at the moment. With the battle arena. I just have to do a lot of the wiring and detailing on that build. And that should be done by June. So I've got a lot of time left to work on that. So this Beacon of the South is going to be hopefully taking a while. It's something that also that I just want to do while I'm on stream. Because I don't really know, like I don't have permission from a lot of the other server members to have them be on film, and I want to respect their privacy as much as I can. Unless, you know, they want to be on the server, or not the server, the stream. Then obviously I will add them. There it is. I should probably do something to label, or at least, you know, block it out. Because, okay, I dug a tunnel because I want to have a rail running from that rail station over there to the beacon. Like, you can see the vision. And then it's going to go through these two pillars. I considered having it, excuse me, like going across the water a little bit, but then I'm like, let's just make it obvious. And just go boom, boom across the water there. And wow. You know, even with that, just that little, like that first layer, it's already looking menacing to come upon. And I think I really knocked it out of the park because I used the I kind of took inspiration from like the Citadel in the West for the design. As you can see, like the spruce, and then I added took a little bit of inspiration from the oak side bridges with the oak, and then like the cobblestone, and also the bookshelves I've been working with a lot recently, which I really love. I love the bookshelves. But to tell you where we last left off, I did a little bit of building off camera, but then I stopped myself and I was like, hey, I want them to, you know, see what I'm doing. So as you can see, it's going to be like a checkerboard design all the way around with like the spruce wood in a plus across the way. And then at the three other corners, I've got little, I'm contemplating on having elevators because I also, since this is going to be an ocean base, I want a place for people to dock their boats or, you know, have a Nautilus and then come up in there and do what they need to do. So, on that note, I think we can continue with building the floor and then maintaining this design pattern. And I think we're going to need, gosh, what are we going to need? Is that like, yeah, we're going to need some stone blocks to get that third level. So, and you see, this is why we replenish the tools. Let me see what I've got. Let me see what I got. Okay, yeah, no, I've got a few. I have a few. Stone. You up there. You may stay down there. Oh my god. Enderman. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I've got quite a bit of stuff. I'm prepared. Bing bong, bing bong. Yeah. I hope your week has been going well. Mine's been going me through. Oh my gosh. There we go. Currently getting me through. Not paying for another controller. Which, like, it's not that I don't have the... Oh, wait. Do I... That's why I had a crafting table. I know what I'm doing. I've been playing this game for over 10 years. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Or, well, should I... One thing at a time, babe. One thing at a time. You gotta make that third level. for standing. Yeah. So I'll just ba-da-bing, ba-da-boom. Okay. Now we're cooking. Go boom. Then go in here. Go boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, pow. Jack and my... Oh, wait. I probably shouldn't be singing copyrighted music, even though I don't think anyone will be paying attention to this stream. I'm still pretty low on the totem pole when it comes to Twitch streamers. Or should I have it? Should I have it 3 high? Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm having it 3 high. Oh, I need to get cobblestone. Mother Hubbard. That is why we have the elytra, folks. Cobblestone. There we go. I don't need a whole lot. And the sun is about to go down. I'm gonna have to come back over here, guys. Who cares? Also, this place is like fully lit, and I'm not really... A lioness does not concern herself with the rising and setting of the sun. She's only concerned about the hunt. And by the hunt, I mean the game. And by the game, I mean placing blocks, baby. Okie dokie artichoke. We go around, hoppity hoppity hop. But I am concerned with the monsters spawning down by where I sleep. So I think I'll place these cobbies. That's French for cobblestones. It's actually not. I don't know French. I know a little bit of French. But not enough to be fluent in the language. By a long shot. Alright, we're back. We're back, everybody. Okay. Okay. Probably shouldn't have done that, but you know what? This is my world. Well, not technically. It's a shared world. Bum 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 bum. Ba-dum bum 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 bum. I thought that was a build or something. A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-2. Oh, Mother Hubbard. Huh. I redact that statement. There will be no Mother Hubbarding from this gal today. And then we're going to have a top bit, which I'll get to later. But for the time being, I hear something. Oh, wait. I know why I hear it. Because there's a monster spawner right under my feet. Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff. And you know, it's a good thing I built this, or I'm building this thing at the moment, because I just got a few new people on the server that love the ocean, and they usually play in creative. And I'm very glad to be as accommodating as possible. And they're literally right over there. Excuse me, that's their base. I don't mean to show it to people too early because they're they literally just started. Which, you know, all the more reason to build national access to the ocean to accommodate new players. And you know what? That's exactly what that's what socialism is about, meeting the people where they're at. Instead of forcing people to conform to what you're doing. That's right, baby. We're woke maxing today. And I need you and you. You I can toss in there. I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need you right now. Mama needs some slabs. Okay. Now let's get situated. Yeah. And you know, I am kind of cheating with the slabs here, but it allows me to stretch out the resources pretty well whenever I'm doing a build. And I figured it's better to also have like a little bit of a layer in between the top of the monster farm and the community chests, just in case there's ever like an accident or something where someone breaks the floor and then they fall into the monster farm, because I don't want accidents happening on the server in the realm. That's not what I'm about. I'm about safety. I'm pretty much the safety inspector. Ooh. Stellar. We were just about there. Do I need more? Oh yeah, well that goes there technically. 1, 2, 3. I've got a few left before I need to go back down. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I'll put these ones down. Just so they're out of my inventory. There we go. Ooh, I'm loving it already. It already looks so fantastic and cozy. Artichoke. Thank you, spruce trees, for giving me the gift of turning you into buildings. Also, this is gonna look so good on a map, you guys. I'm not even joking. If there's one thing I love doing more than building bridges and like building buildings, it's making maps. I love a good map. I do. It's like my third favorite thing. And bingo, 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 bingo. Yeah, Hopefully no fire ever starts on this level. I mean, like, if it does, it'll be fine. But, like, yeah, hopefully I would be rather put out. Okay. Back on track. Boom. 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 Yep, that's what I needed to do. Boom, 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 boom. Also, I hope you guys are proud of me. I scheduled a doctor's appointment today, and I was really scared. So I go into the doctor on, like, April 1st. I hope you're proud of me. It's really scary. I mean, like, I have to do it because no one else is going to do it for me. It's kind of my own health. It's my own responsibility at this point in my life. But it's still really scary. Get in there. Okay. Thank you, Enderman, for not scaring me. I appreciate that so much about you. I know. You're like so humble and so kind. Where are you? I can't even see you right now. That's so cool. Where are you? It knows. Or maybe it doesn't know. It is a computer after all. Does it have sentience? Does it not have sentience? Who's to say? Probably them if they can. Since computers are non-binary. In a sense. Boop. I love the checkerboard design when it comes to, like, neutral tones like wood. Also, if you're ever designing, like, a shared space, neutral tones are always a really good way to go. Just because, like, if you use a really intense tone like a red, like, and I mean like a strong red, it can, well, I don't know if it's an exact scientific fact, but, like, usually the color red is associated with anger, and seeing the color red can kind of, at least from what I've heard, it can increase the cortisol levels. However, that is not a field I specialize in, so do not take my word for it. Oh yeah, baby, we are almost done with the floor. That is what I'm talking about. Beautiful. Yeah, hopefully your day is going well. I hope you have me on in the background and you're just chilling out. Maybe you're doing the dishes. Maybe you're doing something else. Something like that. Ooh, do I need more? I think I might have enough for the rest of the floor, because it's not, I thought it was a bigger area, but it is not that big. Mother Hubbard. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Also, I'm trying to figure out more stuff for Twitch, like how to get overlays and stuff without needing to go on a physical computer because I only have the iPad, and I usually stream off of the Xbox. No. No. There you go. So, I mean, still a work in progress. I know this is like the... Oh, love you. It's a work in progress, this Twitch channel. And we are... Hold on. Oh, that's something I was going to mention. I don't know if any of you guys watch The Amazing Digital Circus, but I do, and I feel kind of, I don't know, I feel the show has a trend of attracting not the best fan base, and I don't know, I kind of, for my IRL friends, I don't really say that I like the show, even though I want to really bad, because there's like so much I could talk about with it. Gosh, come it. What are you doing? There we go. But I have no one in real life to talk to about it, and it sucks. Because I do really, really, really enjoy the show, and I want to talk about theories and stuff, but I have nobody to talk about it with, and it makes me sad. And all of the people I do want to talk about it with are online, which like is still good, but it's different talking with people in person and whatever. Okay, so there's obviously going to be a platform on top here. I might just do slabs again, but instead of wood slabs, I might do stone slabs. Just to keep it safe. Oh yeah, that's Zebulon, by the way. I love him. He's one of the few horses I still have around. It's him, Balunkaloo, Sylvia. I thought I lost Sylvia a long time ago, but I still have her. It's Zebulon, Sylvia, Zarathustra. Lots of Z's. Zebulon, Zarathustra, Sylvia. Oh, and Bojack Horse. He's probably the oldest one still alive. And if you watch my TikToks, I've got a couple of them. Like slideshows about horses I've had. Because like the animals in the world are very important to the lore. Ooh. That way we maintain the consistency and always know where the center point is. I'm going to maybe do... Oh, gosh. Should I just do... Because I want to be able to tell where the center is. So we're going to put slabs away. And maybe do copper down the middle. I don't know. I'm cooking, chat. I'm cooking. Or, ooh, that could be fun. Just some terracotta. Ooh, oh, ooh. Yep. No, I know what I'm doing now. Huzzah. Thank you, chat. She said, with no one in the chat. You've given me some inspiration. And I might have run out of stone. I'll be fine. There's always a surplus of stone. Never run out. Oh, no. Oh, dear. There we are, right as rain. Okay. And now we're going. Okay. Also, I'm wondering if I should make Twitch friends. Or, ooh, is this ceiling too low? It's like two. No, I think it's fine. I think we're. Well. I'm thinking. Because I can't fit a super smelter in here if it's going to be that low. Hold on. I'm pondering. Because I don't want it to be too high. Because I don't want Enderman popping up in here. It's a bit too close. Well, I guess... I'm thinking... Hold on. I'm gonna tear this down. Because I want it to be, you know... I don't want it to be too suffocating. So I might just do 4 high. Oh, did I? Whoa, that was fast. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I think I'm gonna need to get some more spruce wood. And since this is the top layer, I might just do regular oak planks. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Because I've got just enough oak planks. Or spruce planks. Oh, and it's raining. Hooray, huzzah, and it's almost sundown. Hooray, huzzah. Will I have enough is the question. Probably not. Well, I might have to cheat and use the spruce planks. Even then, I won't have enough. So... Oh, yeah. But don't worry. We're gonna cheat again. In a few seconds, because... I'm a Minecraft veteran, guys. I know what I'm doing. Ow. Because it just needs to be consistent on the outside. It doesn't need to be all that consistent on the inside. Bada bing, bada boom. Now we're cooking. Wait, is that the exact middle? Or is that the exact middle? Did I do this all wrong? I might have. Hold on. If I did, that's fine. Because the further up we go, the more necessary it will be to have that be the middle. So 1, 2, 3. 13. Okay, so this is the exact middle. I am like 1 block off, but that's fine as long as the next level is in the exact middle and I know where I'm going, I'll be fine. With the flooring, I don't think it's that big of a necessity. Or is it gonna be a necessity? Oh my gosh, I just got a glimpse of it and it kind of rubs me the wrong way. Oh yeah, no, that rubs me the wrong way. It's a necessity. Oh, oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. And then go. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that's so much better. I was gonna go crazy. Well, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh. You don't even know unless you know. Or well, I guess you do know. It's a slab right there. So. You don't even know unless you know. Ha 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 ha. I'm just gonna have faith that that's also where it needs to be. I think that's as high as I want to go. Let me... Hold on. Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Take that. Ha 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 ha. That's how I get the job done. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, maybe we could do something fun here. Maybe put some lanterns underneath. That could be fun. Or, ooh. That could be fun. Let's do that. Let's keep that. And maybe get some like cobblestone walls here and make it look like pillars that's kind of supporting the middle. Oh, I love interior design. Okay. bestviewers.streambo.com. Remove the space. Oh. Thanks. Graphic working. Menued. Sorry, I don't look at the chat often. I'm in the zone. Auto zone. Do I want to do a whole... I'm conflicted. Do I want to do stone for the whole top? Because what I'm gonna do... Or, well, okay. I have to figure out where I'm going to have the stairway. Or maybe I should just have it in the middle. Maybe that's a good idea. Like, stairway in the middle. Community chest over here. Community chest over here. Maybe a little work area. Perhaps a window? Right there. That could be cool. That could work. Kind of make this area into an actual community area. Interior design is my passion. Or, I don't need that, I guess. And then, ooh, I could just have stone lining the top. And... contemplation is carving. I'm thinking. Give me a hot second. Because if I do the spiral staircase in the middle and then have a little area right here where I've got that level, and maybe I'll bring it in a little bit. That way they can all have their own little, like, balconies outside. Like, wrapped around. And maybe do, like, a circle kind of thing. That could be something. And then they can, you know, look out over the edge and see the ocean. And then the little peninsula down there. Because the goal is to have it kind of be like a circle up here. Ooh, maybe I should incorporate that into what I'm doing. With the... Because I have a plethora of stone slabs. Let's see, how did I do it last time? I did something similar to this last time. So I think I went... 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1. One. You, get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. You. Thank you. Okay. Back at it. So if I go 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. 2, 2. How many twos did I do? 3 2s, 4 1s. Oh, okay. Okay. Wait. Oh, yeah. Where's my scaffolding? Okay. 2 2, 1 1, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so 3 2s, 4 1s, and that's for each side. And how does that look? Oh, oh, that looks so good. Okay, I know what I'm doing. Okie dokie, artichoke. 1 2. I love it when I figure out a build. Everything just falls into place and it's fantastic. 1 2, 1 2. We know. One, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. Oh, this is coming together so nicely. Three. If it were. Oh my gosh. Guys, you have no idea how happy I am right now. Oh, and then I get to see it when it's all finished and it's all rounded out. Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm so excited. Guys, you have no idea. 3. Okie dokie, art hitch okie. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. This is about to be legendary. Hold on, chat. This is gonna be legendary. It's gonna be legendary. Hold on. Oh, I I forgot I have so many more. Okay. Still legendary. And then we go up, see how it looks. Aerial footage. Oh yeah, that looks nice. That looks nice. That's what I wanted. That's fantastic, actually. That is, I kid you not, that is exactly what I wanted. Oh, I love this game so much. And then we'll have, yeah, like half moon type apartments. Nothing too big and crazy. But, you know, something to just, you know, for players to rest easy for the night before they go out on their adventure in the big blue. Maybe I should theme the rooms. I think that could be fun. Like, kind of like how I did with the spawn point castle. What time are we at? Ooh, it's just about to the end of the stream. It's almost my time to go. Oh my gosh, you guys, you have no idea how excited I am right now. This is exactly how I've been wanting this build to go. Honestly, this has to be one of my favorite building projects I've done recently. Because it's just got a lot of moving parts. And the last big one I did was that apartment building in the capital. I don't want to break it. Which I love that building, but I also work with, you know, a pretty consistent color palette of blocks the majority of the time, since, you know, the country is mostly in a desert. So it's been really nice to work with stone and wood that I don't usually get to work with. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with the spiral staircase method. Because if I do that, then it'll just be a straight shot for people who want to go to the sniffer biome and get torch flowers and whatnot. I guess we could go mining for stone. We're gonna need the stone roof on here. Which, you know, I'll also create some pillars in here. Just to, like, have the illusion of, like, real world physics. I also just really love pillars. I think, like some of the design, like, in the real life pillars, I'm a really big fan of. And I wish there were some in my apartment. Because I don't know, I love it when buildings are supportive, you know? But let me... Gosh, I think, yeah, I'll do outer layer cobblestone, that way I know what I'm doing. Boom. Boom. Then pillars right there. Okay. We're back. Sorry about that. I forget when my controller dies, my mic also dies. We're working on it. Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left of the stream, so... If that kind of gives you a window. I want to do this every Tuesday. Just because I want to, B, it's when time will allow. Let's do... And yeah, probably woke maxing every Tuesday for the first hour and then more building projects. I think that'd be a good idea. Oh, I like that. I like that already. Okay. Let's get you out of the way and then we'll definitely have room for the spiral staircase. And so, all right. Yeah, no, this is going very well so far. I think for this build, I'll leave it right here and then we'll come back to it probably tomorrow because I do want to stream tomorrow. There won't be any woke maxing sessions that day. I think it'll just be Minecraft day or just adventures in Estos. Which I may start out the first hour by just going and continuing Project Redstone in the capital. It's low stakes. And then moving back out here, continuing the project. Or, ooh, I might need to go and get some spruce logs for the upper part. But that's the bridge we'll cross when we get to it, which will be tomorrow. Probably around the same time. Thank you for whoever said that you promote Twitch channels in the chat. I'm not really looking to promote anything. It's kind of just, you know, for the vibes. I appreciate your extension, but I'm just kind of doing this for me as a way to keep talking more. I don't really want to make this into a whole thing, just a chill time. But thank you. I appreciate you. Even though you're probably a bot, but I do appreciate you. Okay, and then we can walk the rest of the way because it's going to be mean to me. Oh yeah, you're an auto mod. Sorry, I'm still so new to Twitch. I feel like a baby giraffe most of the time. Ooh, and I also need to set up that rail line too. So many things to do. But yeah, we're just making our way to the capital before the stream ends. We do have a little time, so I guess I could show you what else I've been up to in or on the realm. Pretty exciting stuff. To say the least. Well, anywho, thanks for sticking with me on this. For this woke maxing Tuesday, I think is what we'll call it. When we just need to replenish our tools. And I need to use some pretty woke material. I might do Before We Were Trans again next week, but I don't know. We might do the Communist Manifesto, and we might, alternate week for week. And there's also some really cool history books that I want to read as well, just because I really liked them when I first read them. So we might do that as well. But, who knows? Oh, that was a button I was supposed to press. Oh well. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking with me on the stream today. It was a good time. Well, I had a good time. I like reading, and especially if it's a book I've been wanting to read. Again, call me a windmill. I am a big fan. Excuse me. Ah, what a beautiful building. So lovely. And it matches the vibe of the city. But yeah, like I said earlier in the stream, I've been working on just getting rid of all of the torches I have placed across the city because it takes up a lot of render. Like, how did that happen? Why is there a too high hole? Who did that? That is not how it's supposed to be historically, but who knows? I'm trying to maintain the historical integrity of these little houses. That way it's, it looks, because it, like this little old town area, I've left relatively unchanged. I mean, other than like the grass and, that top part, I think I adjusted a little bit, but it's maintained its, like I said, I haven't done a whole lot. And the village as it is pretty much just as it was when I found it. Other than, like, there were 2 towers here that were destroyed during raids. And I ended up just building this church for them. Which there's a whole lot of lore about the church. Which, if you follow me on TikTok, which I really think you should, under the banner of Sarcasm, which that's what it looks like if you're curious. Sarcasm, I think it's just Sarcasm on TikTok. But hold on, yeah, there we go. I threw this map up just to kind of give folks an idea of where they're at, and the little green dots where they're at right now. And then you've got the museum, then you have the Capitol building, and then the arena that is still being worked on, and then you've got the city proper, which I do love. I love this city. It's my city. It's a beautiful city with a lot of rewiring that is needing to be done. More of these, less of those. Because yeah, as you could tell, there's torches everywhere. Yeah, we will finish up then in the museum. I've also been, like, this is a custom tree that I just did. And I want to have, like, I've got a firefly bush in this one. That way it looks like it's got particles coming off of it. And I want to do that. And I want to make a couple more trees here. maybe have like one in the same line behind here. I've also got redstone lights. It used to be torches all around there, but I'm like, we don't need that. And then I think this is the first spot I really experimented with the redstone lights, because like I said, I don't do a whole lot with redstone. This whole, because what it got me going on was, like, I've been, here, I'll just show you. Let me show you. Because this is the whole reason I've been messing with redstone lately. I want to have redstone controlled lights in the arena. Because, like, I want folks to maybe fight monsters in the arena as well. So, like, they're all off. And I've, you know, still got torches up because I don't want monsters spawning. But I just need to get more redstone lights to put in there, and then those are all going to be lit up. And then this part's obviously going to be off or blocked off so as to sell the illusion. And then I also want to do a redstone door, like right down there. That way folks can be, like, if you're entering the arena, you can dramatically do so. I think I might do it, like... And I also want redstone lights underneath here. That way, like, the eye, because it's supposed to represent an eye of Ender. I don't know if you could tell. But... yeah. And then, like, maybe down here, like right here, I want to do a giant piston door that separates, and then you can ride a horse up in here or something. Then ride your horse around. And I also want to have this place be for, like, jousting as well. And kind of have that initiate the arena into the public consciousness of the server. Because ultimately the capital is where you go when you either need specific things or, like, community events. Like, Trivia Night takes place here. You know, you learn about the history of the world here. It's very all-encompassing. And, you know, with time, this will be a place where folks go. Alright, anywho. That will conclude today's... Are you kidding me? What happened here? Oh, no, it's supposed to be like that. Okay. Alright, that will conclude today's stream. Thank you so much for watching. Come join me tomorrow around the same time, 10 a.m. Central Time, and we will be having more adventures in Estos. So with that, thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And remember to stay cleanly. And we are stopping